Guys, if you have been spending hours manually building n8n workflows, and if you are tired of all that repetitive work that you are doing, then you have actually come to this right video where I'll be helping you to set up a system where you can use Claude to generate n8n workflows completely for free. And the best part here is you don't need to write a single line of code to implement this system. If this sounds interesting, let's get started with the video. So the first requirement that we need to have is we need to have the Node.js installed in our computer. So if you don't have Node.js installed, I'll leave a link in the description. You can just go into that particular link and then you can install the Node.js for your operating system. So once you have installed it, we can now proceed to the next step. So we will be actually using n8n MCP in order to build out this system. If you are not sure about MCP, that's okay. I'll just give you a quick introduction to MCP as well. So with this simple image, I'll try to explain you in a minute what actually is MCP and how it is going to work. So let's say you have 3 MCP servers, which is, let's say the first one is the like the local node. This is just for the example for you to understand easily. Let's say this is the MCP of a nodes that you are actually storing on your on cloud. You can consider it that way, and you can consider the second MCP as the MCP of the to-do list that you are also storing it on a cloud. And the third MCP server, let's try to make it a weather API or something like that. And now if you want to actually ask a question like what is the weather like today, so the question you are going to ask is going to be on the side of the MCP client, right? So based on the question that you gave, MCP client is going to decide which API to call or which MCP server to call. Let's say in our case we are going to ask what is the weather, right? So in that case the MCP client is going to call this particular MCP server, where this is going to make a request or what do you say, call the endpoint of get the weather or whatever might be the endpoint, and it is going to get the info and pass it to the MCP client so we can see the response of the API. So in this way, you don't have to manually call the API, whatever the API that you want to call. You can set up the MCP servers, and based on the question that you are asking, the MCP client is going to decide which server to call. I think you have understood the concept of MCP. Now let's just go ahead and start implementing our system. So like I told you that we will be using an MCP for n8n, right? So we have this GitHub repo which is completely related to this particular MCP. So we can use this GitHub repo and then we can go ahead and implement it. So I leave the link to this particular GitHub repo in the description as well. So if you just come over to this particular link and just scroll down to this readme file, you'll have the steps of how to actually install this and use it. So you just have to copy this single command, and as I have told you that you need to install Node.js, right? So once you have installed Node.js, you can go ahead and open terminal or command prompt in your computer. So once you have the terminal open, just paste the command that you have actually got from the GitHub and then just click on enter. So for the first time, you'll have to just press Y to confirm the running of this particular MCP. From the second time, you just don't have to, just have to paste this particular command. And now the next step is going to be just head over to Claude and just download it for your desktop. So just search for Claude download. You'll have this particular link, or I'll share you the link as well in the description. You can just go ahead and download it to your operating system. So once you have successfully downloaded Claude, you can go ahead and open the settings here. So once you are in the settings, just head over to the developer section. Here you will not find the MCP because I have used it previously, so you'll find it, I'm actually finding it here. You will have an option to edit the configuration. Just click on edit config, and this is going to take you to a JSON file, like the config file, where you will have to update the JSON. So just try to open it with whatever the ID that you are using. So once you open this file, you'll have an empty file, you'll not have all this, and we'll set it up now. So go ahead to the GitHub repo page that I have shared the link, and just copy this full configuration JSON file and just try to add that code here. Now you have to actually change two things here. One is the n8n instance URL, and the other is the API key. So if you are actually using n8n from the n8n cloud itself, like from the official n8n website, you can't actually implement the system. You need to self-host it. So I have created a video in detail on how to self-host it for free, and also like how to self-host it locally, and also how to self-host it on cloud. So if you missed that video, I'll leave a link to that in the cards, so you can check that. And if you want to self-host it for free, there are options that I have showed you in the video as well. So once you are done self-host, you will have a URL something like this. In my case, I have n8n.digitalmoney.space. So I'll just copy this particular URL and I'll go back to the JSON file and I'll paste the n8n instance here. And the other thing that you have to paste here is the API key, right? So just go back to the n8n and then you'll find settings here and you'll have the n8n API here. Just go ahead to the n8n API and then click on create API key, and I'll just name it as n8n MCP. You can actually set the duration at which you want this particular API to get expired. So I'll try to keep it at no expiration, and these are all the scopes that are going to be added by default. So you just have to click on save, and I'll just copy the API key that I have generated and I'll go back to JSON and I have pasted the API key here. Just try to save the changes. And now if you try to reload the app, you will be able to see this particular section, like you have the n8n MCP and the status is going to be running, and make sure you don't terminate this has to be running. And now that's it. We can now go ahead and try to ask Claude to build the workflows. And I just want to give you a quick note here. In order to implement the tool calls or in order to use MCPs, there are credits, like there are some free credits that you will be getting with Claude, right, with the free account. And if you want more credits, you have to go for the premium account or the $20 plan that Claude has. And in this case as well, that is going to be the same thing. As we are going to make so many tool calls for the workflow that we are going to build, the credits might get completed quickly. For the basic workflows, the free plan would be enough. But if you want to build out some complex workflows, I think the free plan credits that you would be getting are not sufficient, I guess. I have asked you to create an n8n workflow to read the data from Google Sheets and then send on Gmail. So I'll just click on the submit button, and now this is going to make a lot of tool calls to actually understand what nodes to implement and to understand the implementation of each node, like what is the node about, and then it is going to create the entire workflow. It now says that it is successfully created. Now let's just go to n8n and let's see for the workflow. As you can see, we have the workflow which is just updated now, and if we try to open this, we'll have the workflow that is created. As you can see, we have the workflow that is now created successfully. So in this way, you will be able to create n8n workflows without you actually trying to create it manually. So you can use Claude, or if you want to implement with any of the other AI models, you can do that as well. So if you find this video helpful, just give it a like, and if you have any questions regarding this, comment down below, or else you can join our free community. I'll leave a link in the description as well. So that's it for the video. I'll see you in the next one.